Hi guys, welcome to episode 2 of my new Rive course on character animation. Today we are going to do one of the most daunting things in character animation, which is called drumroll walk cycles. Don't worry, I'm going to cover you from everything from A to Z that you need to know on walk cycles.
Okay, today we're going to create this really cool walk cycle in Rive. Now we've rigged our character and now it's time to go on to the next step. I must say that walk cycles are quite an advanced technique in motion design or animation, and you're going to learn a lot today, and after this lesson you can really tell yourself that you have leveled up. Okay, let's get started. So before we start with the walk cycle, I think I just need to go through the basic techniques of how to create a walk cycle, basically the theory behind it, because it's very important to understand some key concepts. Now, a walk cycle can be broken down into 4 poses, or what they call in animation key poses. I'm going to show them all to you now. So we've got the first pose here. I've made this little character in Blender in the grease pencil, which is a phenomenal tool. And I think in the future I'm going to make some tutorials on that as well. But for now, let's just have a look here. We've got this character. That's basically his body or his hips. And then the legs. So this is called the contact pose. This is where both legs are straight and the heel of the front foot touches the ground. And then the heel of the back foot is lifted off the ground, making it ready to propel itself upward and go to the next pose. If you have a look here, I drew this little crude line. This is basically the motion path that the foot follows. It's almost like a teardrop. So if you create a walk cycle and you get this type of line, you're doing it correctly. So let's go on to the next one. So this is the contact pose. Then the next one is the down pose, this one here. So if we have a look at the down pose, what happens is the body goes down. And then as the body goes down, the foot goes down and the front foot goes down and it goes back a bit. And then the back foot lifts itself up from the ground, getting ready to go forward. And then the next pose is this one, which is called the passing pose. What happens in the passing pose is this foot is almost straight under the body. The body's gone up again, but more or less the same height as the contact pose, and the leg that's traveling forward is at its highest, and you can see there. And then the next and last pose is called the up pose. What happens here is this foot is going up, making ready to propel itself forward, and this foot here is completing its up cycle and going into the next contact pose, which is like that. And if I play everything together, it's going to look like this. See, it's very crude walk cycle, but you can definitely see that this is a walk cycle. Now let's jump back into Rive. Okay, we are back here in Rive. So let's get to it. Create a new timeline, and let's just call this walk. And then we go here and we make the duration, let's make it 5 seconds. So press 500. And then here where it says FPS, that stands for frames per second. We want it to be 24 frames per second, not 60. Now the reason for that is twofold. The first reason is 24 frames per second is traditionally used for animation, and that just gives it that aesthetic. They use 24 frames per second for all the classic animation movies and series. They even use 12 sometimes, but it's not animated at a high rate. So that aesthetically it works correct for this type of thing. And then the second reason why I use 24 is we've got our 4 poses. Now we need something that's divisible by 4, and 24 is perfectly divisible by 4. So that's why we use that. Now, okay, let's go on here. We make it a loop and create a work area. So let's just go in here and put it at the start, maybe here on the first, on second. So all I do is I just go here, watch that counter there, and then I just drag it there. And then we close the loop here. So that the whole walk cycle is 1 second long. So let's start. The first thing we're going to animate is the hips. So I've selected the hip controller. I'm just going to bring it down slightly. That's our first keyframe. That's a contact pose. Then I'm going to go forward 3 frames. Use the period. Press it 1, 2, 3. Then for the down pose, we're just going to bring it down even a bit more. Let me just go to the artboard and say F so I can see the whole character. Then we're going to go again 2, 3. This is now for our passing pose. We can just copy this one because they're going to be the same more or less. And then 1, 2, 3, we're going to go for our up pose. For our up pose, we want the feet to be slightly off the ground. So we just lift the character up like that. And then 1, 2, 3, copy this one again. And this is basically our hips done, the loop for the hips. But we're going to work on this a bit more. Okay, so let's work on the hips. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this over here so we can just loop this, because after we've polished this up, we're going to just copy it for the walk cycle. So what I do here is I go to the hip, twirl it down, select the position there. Then I'm going to go into the graph editor here. So what we want for the hips is we want a bouncing ball motion. A lot of animation is based off a bouncing ball, and that's exactly what we want. We want the character to go, we want the hips to go down fast, and then when it's on the ground or when it's at its lowest point, it just touches and then it goes up again into the up pose where it lingers a bit because of the inertia created by gravity, and then it goes down quickly again. So let's do this. So it's actually quite easy. So select the first keyframe and then just make these handles all straight. So it travels down at a constant speed, and then as it comes here, we don't want any easing. We want it to go straight back up again. So I've selected this keyframe. Now these 2 ones, I'm also going to give the same treatment, make them straight. So this is basically what it looks like. It goes down, and then as it goes down, there's no easing. It goes straight up back again. Then we select this one, and then we make this one straight. And now this one here is where the up pose is. This is the one we want to have some easing. So I'm just going to bring this out a bit. Then I'm going to go to this one with the up pose again. I'm going to bring this handle out. This handle influences this part, and then this handle influences this part. So this one we want to bring down, so we have that motion going straight down again. So if we play it, we get something like this. And that's exactly what we want. So it looks like a bouncing ball. I'm actually just going to scoot this one. Oh, no, that's fine. Let me do that. For the passing pose, I'm just going to bring this one up ever so slightly. Okay, and that is basically the hips done. Then I'm just going to go here to the end, copy them and paste them. This is what we've got so far. This guy is very excited to go for a walk. Now let's work on the legs. The legs are probably the most difficult thing to do in a walk cycle. If we get the legs sorted, the rest will be easy. So I'm going to go to the front ankle. I'm going to put a keyframe on position, both on X and Y, and then go to the front toe and put a position on the Y. Then I'm going to go into the front ankle and let's take it forward until we've got a straight leg. So the way I'm going to approach this is I'm going to only work on this front leg, do the whole walk cycle on the front leg, and as you all know, I'm very lazy. I'm just going to copy that and put it on the back leg. So I've brought this leg out here. Then I'm going to go to the middle, and now I'm going to take the leg to the back. So this is the widest point of our walk cycle. So this is all on the X. And then I'm just going to close the loop. I'm going to select that keyframe and bring it over there. So now we're going to go to the toe and just lift it up and align it with the foot. And now as we get to the down pose, we want the toe to be straight on the ground. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go here in the Y position and press 0 to even it out and bring it back down again. So that is basically what for the X movement. It's basically just going that direction and then going back. So let's work a bit on the Y. Okay, when the foot is on the ground, we obviously don't want the Y to be influenced. So we're just going to copy this keyframe on the start and paste it there. And then now, when we're in the middle of the second half of the walk cycle, where the foot is traveling forwards, we want it when we're in the passing pose, we want this foot to be up. So I'm just going to bring it up like this. And now if we have a look at it, we've got a very crude walk on this leg. So now all we have to do is we have to fix the toe. So I'm just going to go to the toe, to the second half, put a Y keyframe. And then when we're in the middle with the passing position, I'm just going to bring this down. So it lines up 90 degrees. And then I just close the loop. And now we've got the basic leg set up. But let's polish it with the graph editor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Y. And all I'm going to do with the Y is just give it cubic interpolation. And when I get to the X, this is going to be a bit different. So I select the X and then go into the graph editor. Now, if you look here, the type of motion path we've got now is like this. And we don't really want it like this. We want it more like the teardrop shape we saw earlier on the Blender example. So what we're going to do here is as the foot goes back, as the foot is on the ground, we don't want it to have any cubic interpolation. We want it linear because you're moving at a constant speed. But as it comes here, we want to have some linear or some easing. So I'm just going to go on this frame here. That's the only one where I'm just going to press a cubic interpolation. Okay, actually gave cubic interpolation to everyone, but just select that one there and give it cubic interpolation. Then I'm going to go here into the graph and I'm going to make this one quite steep. Because what happens here is when the foot goes up, it doesn't really travel on the X direction. It goes more on the Y direction. And then it goes forward quite fast up until the next pose. So what we do here, for this one here, we just make it straight again. And then you get this type of motion, which is exactly what we want. Now we're going to copy it over to the other side. And that's very easy. All we're going to do is we're just going to select the back ankle, put keyframes on position, both position parameters, and the back toe just on the Y. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this half of the walk cycle and put it there because it's the opposite. When the one leg goes forward, the other one goes back. So we're just going to copy these guys from the front ankle and just paste them on the back ankle. And then we're going to go to the middle and we're going to do the same. We're going to take these guys and paste them here. So let's do that. So now we've got that sorted out. Now it's just the toe that we need to fix. So we're going to do the same. Select these 3 ones here and then paste them there. Go to the middle. Select these ones and paste them there. And that's it. Now we've got a basic walk cycle done. We've got the legs done. And as I said earlier, if your legs are done, you're over the worst. This is the most difficult part. So let's get cracking on the arms and the body. So let's work on the arms next. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to select the arms, just press Control and just select one of these bones. Let me just see if it's the forward. Okay, we've selected the front arm. So how it works with the arms is when this leg goes forward, this arm goes back. So we're going to bring it out there. Let's make it quite wide. Let's give him quite a wide stride. And then when we go to the middle, we want the opposite. We want the arm to be in the front and the leg in the back. And then we just go to the end, close the loop, select all of them and give it cubic interpolation. So that's the arm swing on the front arm. Now let's work a bit on the forearm. I'm going to select that, press Control again, select that bone. And what I'm going to do here is a technique that I read about in the phenomenal book, The Animator Survival Kit by Richard Williams. It's really a good book. If you're serious about animation, I can really recommend that you get it. So I'm going to break this joint ever so slightly. You're going to see it's going to look much better when we start working with the offset. But for now, I'm just going to break it ever so slightly. Then I'm going to go to the middle, bring this arm up until about there. And then we close the loop. And as we did earlier, let's do the same with the back arm. Control select the upper arm for the back arm. Put a keyframe for rotation and Control select the back arm, the back forearm. So we want keyframes on both of these. So now we're going to go to the start, and as exactly the same method we used with the legs, we're going to take these guys and we're going to put them, just make sure you select the back arm and the back forearm. We're just going to put them there. And then we just need to take these guys and then close the loop. So that's the arms basically done. What we're going to do now is we're going to offset them. So the way we do this is we select all of these keyframes. So select all of the arm keyframes, front arm and back arm. Select them all, Control C, Control V. Then we select them all again and we bring this loop over here. So now we've got the loop here and we've got another loop outside of our work area. So what we're going to do is we're going to offset it. The first thing we want to do is the arms are usually at their widest point when you're in the down position, but now it's at their widest point when we are in the contact. So we're just going to go forward 3 frames. Use the hip here as a guide. So that's the down position. So just go forward 3. Okay, now that's sorted. Now the next thing we're going to do, now this is quite cool. We're going to offset the animation of the forearm to the animation of the upper arm, just to create a bit, to make it look a bit more interesting, almost like a bit more flop. It's going to give it sort of like a floppy motion, which is going to look nice. So I select all of these keyframes, hold in Shift and select both the front forearm and the back forearm. Now I'm just going to nudge them forward, maybe 2, 3. The bigger the offset, the more the follow through. They call it follow through when something is not animated at exactly the same rate, when there's a delay in the animation. So I've made it 3, so let's see what that looks like. And I think this is looking cool. This is looking perfect. Now you can see where with that broken joint, it's not really, it's affecting it a little bit, but it just gives it a nice aesthetic. It just gives our character some nice character, if I can say that. Sorry for that dad joke. Okay, let's add some secondary animation. So what basically happens when you walk is as you go forward, as you go in your down position, your body goes forward. It's almost like the walking is a process of falling and then catching yourself in time before you fall. So we're going to go here into this section here on the left, and we're going to look for torso R. And on the first frame, we're just going to put a 0 keyframe. Then we're going to go forward 3, 1, 2, 3. Use the hips as a guide here. And then let's make it 3. So -3. So the body goes forward -3. And then when we get here to the up, we want to overcompensate, and then go into the other direction, but not as much, maybe just 1. So this is quite subtle. All these animations on the body, the secondary animations, they're all subtle and they support the main animation. And sometimes it's almost something you feel it more than you see it. So this is not an extreme animation. It's very subtle movements. And now what I did is I just copied that and created a loop. So it's the same on both halves of the walk cycle. I go to the end here, copy and paste. Okay, what I'm going to do now, you'll see, then we go to the neck. So now we're going to create a sort of kinetic chain, because as the body goes forward, rotates forward, we want the neck and the head to follow. But we're going to create an offset, the same as we did with the arms there. So all we're going to do now is we're just going to go to the neck R and just put a keyframe on rotation. And then just select torso R, all of these guys. And we're just going to put that on the neck. Like so. And then we're going to do the same with the head. So if I go here, let me see if I twirl down neck, then head, that one there. Just put a keyframe, so we've got that. And then we just do the same here. So now, oh dear, something weird happened there. Yeah, it's because the head is it's working with a different group. So I'm going to do the head manually. So I'll put that keyframe there. Then I'm going to go forward 3. Nudge it down a bit. Go up to 10. Let me just copy this one again, and then I'll scoot it back from there. And then to the middle. And then that's the first loop. And I'm going to copy and paste that at the end. And then create something that's outside of the time frame. So if you look at it now, it looks a bit stiff. We want it to be more fluid. So we're going to offset everything. So we're going to take all of these keyframes, the ones for the torso, the neck and the head. So shift select all of them and bring it to the front here. I've got something wrong with the neck that should be there. I just put it on the wrong frame, but that's okay. We just fix that. So now we're going to offset all of these. First, we're going to offset the torso. The torso is going to be the main part. So I'm just going to nudge this one, maybe 2. And then the neck follows the torso, and this one's going to be offset to the torso. So we can nudge this one 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, like something like that. And then the head is offset to the neck. And we do the same, 2 keyframes from there, 2. Then we get this, which is exactly what we want. And that's it. Congratulations, you've created a walk cycle. Oh, there's something more we need to do before we can get excited. We just need to animate the shadow to place our character into the environment. So I'm going to go to the first frame, just scale X, and then go forward 3. Now we want the shadow a bit smaller, so I'm going to let's make it 95 on the down post. Okay, that's fine. And then we go to the next contact pose and just copy. Select everything, copy it again. Cubic interpolation. And that's it. We've created the walk cycle. Congratulations, guys. You should be proud of yourself because this is some next level stuff. It's not easy. It's one of the more advanced techniques in animation.